Innovation Unplugged from the Alabama Community College System's Innovation Center takes you inside Alabama's workforce development. Join us for enlightening conversations with community leaders and industry experts showcasing experiences, addressing key issues, and celebrating successes in the workforce initiatives across the state.
Okay, well, welcome everyone to another edition of Innovation Unplugged. We are here with Robert Lee from Wallace Community College Selma, and I always mess those up sometimes. Wallace Day. Yeah. There's so many different ones, but I think I got it right. Wallace Community College Selma.
You got it.
Director of Workforce Development. So welcome, Robert, and you go by Rob.
Go by Rob. I
so,
respond to both.
But my friends call me Rob.
Yes. Well, we're excited to have you today. Thanks for joining us. And we're excited to hear a little bit more about what else is happening at Wallace Selma and things that are going on in workforce development. But first, let us get to know you a little bit better. Sure. So maybe tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into workforce development at Wallace Community College in Selma.
Wow. So that's really a loaded question. But,
Go for it. We love loaded questions. This is, Innovation Unplugged.
Yes.
So feel free to load away.
That sounds good. So first and foremost, I'm a native of Alabama. So I'm an Alabamian, a true Alabamian. Yeah. My home is Mobile. So I'm down there quite often, checking on my family and so forth. I started undergrad at Alabama A&M.
Okay.
Transferred to Sanford, where I earned 2 degrees. But I tell a lot of people all the time that I'm a Bulldog twice.
Oh, gosh. Oh, I didn't even think about that. And A&M just played Auburn last week?
We don't want to talk about that.
Before that, hey, look, it may be the only game this season. We went, but that's pretty cool. You might not have had to have changed your attire, I guess. If you had something that said Bulldogs, you could just keep it from school to school.
Maybe just the color. But no. So most of my career, and I'm going to lead to your question how I got into workforce development, but most of my career has been in IT. I was an IT professional for 22 years, and it's afforded me a lot of opportunities to live in different parts of the country, work for different accounts, states, and so forth. And so my last stop in IT was actually in Texas.
Oh, wow.
My family and I were living in Austin. My wife ended up getting an opportunity back here at the college as well. Mm-hmm. And so with me being IT, of course, the job opportunities were fluid. Sure. So I said, well, I work from home, I'll find something and so forth. Mm-hmm. Well, in 2019, a part-time position came open with the college where I was supporting a grant-operated program through workforce development. Mm-hmm. So after 2 years of actually working in that program, working in that space, my predecessor, Dr. Glenn King, ended up moving into another position at the college. Mm-hmm. And so that opened up the position for workforce development director.
Okay.
And so things kind of worked out with the experience. First year, of course, was a good learning year, building relationships and so forth. And now I've been director for almost 3 years. So
wow. Do people around the office come to you and say, hey, I got an IT question? Because I'm going to tell you, if you worked in this crew, we would be hitting you up all the time. Like, I feel like we've got IT questions every day, simple stuff to hard stuff. Like we would. So does that happen in your office? Or have you not told anybody of your IT prowess, Rob?
Well, I'll tell you. I think when I took over the position part-time, a lot of the folks in my office knew I was IT, so thank God we got a great IT department at Wallace.
There you go. Plug them.
But small things. Hey, my computer's freezing up and so forth, blah, blah. Can you help me out? And, I do what I can.
Okay. That's all right. Yeah. It's good to know. It's good to know what strengths people have. I know I can pick up the phone and call Rob Lee if I have a question on any IT.
Well, it depends on the question.
Okay. All right. I hear you. Yeah. I hear you. Well, so your wife moved over. What does she do with the college?
Yeah, so she's actually a dual enrollment coordinator.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. So right there, like working almost side by side, not necessarily physically, I'm sure, but at least in service.
Yeah, that's right. And then she's also a full-time biology instructor.
Oh my goodness!
So she's got many more years than I do, but yeah.
Many more years in the system, or many more years to work.
In the system.
In the
I
system.
got the years to work.
I was about to say that's a going thing around my house because I'm like the first out is you get to work until 70 or whatever it is. But it's a funny around our house. It's not a truth, but it's a funny.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you get to outwork me. Is what I say.
Which probably all should be. So
Yeah. I think so. You know, be a good provider, work longer, work harder.
That's
Anyway. I digress. So tell us a little bit about like once you got there, what were your challenges? Because every workforce director has different challenges, right? And has different opportunities in their community. So one, what were your biggest challenges when you first got there and what'd you do about them?
Well, so that's a great question. So when I first started the role of workforce development, we were fairly new. And I think over the years, we've progressively gotten better in the process. And I think with Governor Ivey, giving her endorsement for pushing workforce development, I think that's helped out tremendously because every time we talk about workforce development in any sector, if they hear that I'm the workforce development director, say, hey, can you help us out here? Can you partner with this? Can you write us a grant for this? But, a lot of individuals or corporations don't understand there's parameters around it.
Sure.
But I think my first year, it was really, really different. And I'll share this with you. Whenever I talk about where we were 3 or 4 years ago, I always use the ice cream truck analogy. Because Wallace Selma,
I love an analogy or a metaphor. Bring it. I love ice cream. So too.
So with the programs, because it was fairly new, and with Wallace Selma supporting 8 different counties, it almost felt like, I was driving an ice cream to all these different counties trying to promote our programs. And a lot of times, even when you talk to businesses and industries about, what their needs were, where, of course, everybody needs something.
Sure.
But when you get in front of that actual HR person or leader and so forth, and you say, okay, how can I help your business? They say, well, I'm not sure. What do you have?
Right.
And so, of course, I had to prepare a template that really outlined all of the courses, all of the service offerings that we have within the college. And that's what I would promote with the different industries. So that was the ice cream analogy, telling them what they wanted, driving to county, meeting with the municipalities and the businesses, just talking about how we can help them. Well, with today's state of workforce development, it's been a turn of the tables because a lot of industries are now asking for specific training.
Right.
So for my job, it makes it easier to say, what are you looking for? How many employees are you looking to train? What are your goals as far as this training and so forth? And it's a good problem to have. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's a lot because again, like I said, there's 8 counties, so everybody wants something different. Mm-hmm. But it's good to have because now we have those industries reaching out saying, how can you help us? And we already have those things in place, and some trainings that we've offered already that's already on the menu. So
yeah,
that helps.
What is your menu? How big of a menu is Skills for Success? And knowing that workforce encompasses a lot of things, Rob. And so we know we're part of that menu. But what does your menu look like over there in Wallace Selma?
Wow. So as it relates to Skills for Success, you guys have really been a great partner for the college. Of course, we started the heavy equipment training last year. We rolled out the first training at Wallace Selma, and then we rolled out a second training in Demopolis. And so from that point, it's actually grown. And of course, we've done a lot of great things in Sumter County. They really keep us busy out there and so forth. But now, because we've been able to move a lot of our service offerings into the high school sectors, it's really changed the dynamics. Because now we're working with the local high schools to roll out heavy equipment, the food and beverage offering that you guys have. Mm-hmm. We just hired on the fiber optics instructor, so hopefully we'll be rolling that out fairly soon. And so, Skills for Success, it's been a great avenue for us.
Love it.
Yeah.
We love hearing, and I know, it's hard sometimes to think of things on the spot, so maybe it's just your most recent, but we really kind of feed off of those success stories. And I know you've got a passion for serving people because that's kind of the nature of what we do. And really, you could be in any role and have a passion for serving people and find a way to serve people, regardless of what job you're in.
That's correct.
What's maybe a story or two, and we'll just say maybe recent or not,
Sure.
that kind of jumps out at you that says, this is why I wake up in the morning. This is what fuels my fire, is when I see things like this, or when I can help somebody like this, or we all have those stories and we love hearing them. So tell us yours.
Yeah. So that's a great question, Brandi. And there's so many stories I can share as it relates to that. But I think when I respond to a question like that, it really comes down to the environment that I worked in when I was in corporate, opposed to being in education now. Really with this position of workforce, we're really here for the community. And so when I took over the role as director, my president, Dr. James Mitchell, one thing that he commissioned me to do was be a pillar for the community. He said, yeah, well, Wallace can be a standalone college and, we can offer degrees every year and so forth. But when you come to the city, outside of the Edmund Pettus Bridge and the college itself, those are the two main things that people see. So when they're driving by the college, if we have opportunities outside of the instructional classes that we offer, then, we need to be that support for the community. And that's always been my goal. On the corporate side, getting back to your question, on the corporate side, it's pretty straightforward. Whatever corporation you work for, if they partner with another corporation, then that's your contract. The only thing you have to, really, fill the gaps in. But there's things like diversity issues, making sure that you're satisfying whatever business you're contracted with and so forth, and you're fulfilling their needs. On the educational side, when you're dealing with the lives of individuals, people are just looking for an opportunity. It's a different dynamic. Because when you have a kid, let's say, coming out of high school who has no idea of where they want to go, what they want to do, and so forth, and then they have an opportunity to come to our department, and we're able to give them something sustainable, a credential in hand, and some type of training to lead them to a career, then that's the reward itself. And so you see different students coming from a space where they're trying to figure out life until when they get this credential, all of a sudden they're working, they're making money, talking about possibly building a house, driving the new cars that, whatever their priorities are.
Sure.
But, it's like, game changer, it's life change.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stories that I can share where I've had those situations to, celebrate with those students, but that's the reward of the job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we talk about just generational changes, you never know. And you encounter those folks every day, I'm sure.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm sure.
For sure.
So what's one of those success stories you want to share today? And you don't have to name names of individuals, but just what sticks out in your mind when you think, wow, that was a great day. And I love to see that individual be so successful. And maybe it was a generational change or something that happened as well. So something stand out to you that you want to share?
Yeah. So a few years ago, we ran a program called Skills for Success. Not Skills for Success. Oh God, I just went blank on it. Not Skills for Success. Was it Ready for?
Ready to Work?
Ready to Work?
No.
Ready to Work was the program that replaced ACE.
Yes,
Yep.
that's right.
We packaged Ready to Work. It'll come to me in a second.
Yeah.
We packaged Ready to Work, and then we stacked some other credentials like the technical training, the MSSC certification in manufacturing, and we created like a super credential. So whatever student came out of that program, not only did they have the ACE credentials, where they learned the professional development, the resume writing skills and so forth, they also had a credential that was recognized by industry that they could take to an employer and say, hey, I'm certified to do this, almost like an OSHA 10, where they can take it in hand and say, I'm qualified to do this and I've had this specific training.
Right.
And then on top of that, they had the technical skills to align with those training as well. Sure, I can't think of what that program was.
That's all right.
But I remember, and there's just you don't know until you put it out there. But we had some financial advisors from Regions Bank to do like a lecture seminar session for one of our classes. And so I think we had about 9 guys in the training. We had our auditorium on campus opened up and so forth. And so, really, when we rolled it out, I thought it was going to be more so, like PowerPoint driven. Go through the PowerPoint slides,
Brandi's favorite thing to hear. I was just waiting
with them
for your
for years.
reaction. I didn't get it yet.
Yeah, and of course, they post a few questions towards the end. But when they were going through the slides and they started talking about financial management, 401ks and things of that sort, it was really great information for anyone who's not just outside the workforce, but just for life management. Mm-hmm. But when they really started talking about that stuff, the students really got engaged. And so one of the guys interjected, he said, hey, tell me more about building my credit. How can I do this? Because I would like to get a house one day. And then, of course, when there's one guy asked the one question, then the rest of the class kind of honed in. And then that's when the questions started flowing. So it enlightened me at the moment. It's something that I knew in hindsight.
Sure.
But it really gave me a big picture awareness that, hey, because these students really need to understand this. And most of the time they're not asking questions because it hadn't been presented to them and so forth.
Right.
And so this is something that, we probably need to do more of. So.
That's good. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, now you've got a huge, you just said 8-county service area.
Yes.
Over there, and you've got a lot of support, I know, at your college and your president. So what do you see as the next steps for, and I know we kind of always ask this at the end, but I'm so curious because you're so passionate and I can tell you're kind of forward-thinking kind of guy. What are those things that you and or Wallace Selma are looking at to do next? And we know it's not always going to be skills for success for you, but we hope that it's a lot of what you do. So what are those things that are next for your workforce and you're looking at and making plans and mapping things out?
Well, I'll tell you, because our workforce development department, we dabble into so many different sectors of the workforce. Yeah. How could I forget this? Even with the pilot program that we just completed through Skills for Success, the community health worker.
Yes.
A lot of our trainings aren't segmented to one particular industry.
Right.
We're in the healthcare industry. We're in a CDL, where we do a grant every year for women in trucking, short-term welding, aviation. We're getting ready to start some short-term aviation training and so forth. And so there's a lot of things out there, and we have a big menu. But I think what I would like to see is for our workforce development department to really become a communication or incubator for jobs in that area. Mm-hmm. I want us to be more so like a workforce center, not replacing the career centers, because we understand that a lot of those monies are managed in triage through those sectors. But when students come on our campus, I want them to be able to come into our workforce development department, see job boards, data boards on the walls, say, hey, this is a great job. I think I might want to do this. And if they don't have the skills, help them get there. So it'll be almost like a one-stop shop.
Hub.
Bridge that gap.
Such a hub. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And then and the great thing about it, through Skills for Success, to the Innovation Center's credit, you guys have really, allowed us to launch that type of platform. Mm-hmm. Because when you think about 8 different counties, the entire Black Belt, we got 2 campuses, one in Selma and one in Demopolis. Well, when you start talking about the Hill counties and the Green counties and the Sumters, where you got counties that are almost at the border of Tuscaloosa and the borderline of Alabama, Mississippi. So how do you get to campus? Well, the Innovation Center, through Skills for Success, has made that possible for us, because now we can take that training to those communities. Yeah. And as long as we got a place, facility with Wi-Fi, whatever we need to administer the training, it works for us. Yeah. So we're in a position now where we can better serve those communities and be a better outreach.
Wow, that's a thing of beauty. I mean, I think that's always been kind of the goal and the outlook for Skills for Success, and things that are developed through the Innovation Center is how do we reach those we haven't yet reached? Yeah. How do we make sure we make a difference in the lives of everyone? And making life better is the new ACCS slogan. Yeah. And I think that's just exactly what you said. It's not always anticipating someone has access with transportation to a campus, or how do we get them training closest to them so it's not a burden to get there time-wise. They can get trained, get connected to a job, and get to work. So I know with 8 counties, your reach goes around the borders, like you said. What are some things you're seeing from an economic standpoint, like industries that are looking into the area? Are there things through Skills for Success and the development of courses that we may not touched on yet, or maybe it may be in the pipeline, it's just not ready yet, but what are you seeing based on some of the economic outlook for the areas in those counties that are be of interest?
Okay, yeah. So I'll throw out 2 things. So, of course, with the heavy equipment, that being so heavily utilized in our different counties, we've gotten to a space now because, of course, everything is relative. Putting a program out there initially is relative. Having a support staff to administer the training is relative. Having students show up. And then, of course, the back end of that. Okay, now the students have the certifications, which shows that they can actually perform the task and do the job. So what's next? Do we send them to Mississippi? Do we send them to Georgia? Or do we try to find opportunities for them here in the state? But that's where we come in. And so what I've, hopefully when things clear off my plate, I can do more of this, but my job, really as director is to go out and channel those relationships, saying, hey guys, I have some qualified students that are going through the exact same training that you're looking for, that you're posting jobs for. Give them an interview or give them a handshake.
And come to this lab and offer them a job right then and there. And you get to see what they're doing, what they're capable of and what they've learned and what their skills are, like live time, So what a testimony. You've got big plans over there.
Yeah. And, we have done that with a lot of our heavy equipment labs. We have invited the Yates Constructions, the H&Ms and so forth to come out and be a part of, what we're doing. And, look at, the actual training.
Yeah.
These guys aren't just doing textbook work.
Yeah.
They're actually out here identifying pieces of the equipment, operating the equipment, and showing that they have the skill level to be a good employee.
Yeah.
So,
love it.
Yeah.
Love it. What can we do? What's next for us to support you? So we kind of know what your vision is. And we just worked together on Community Health Worker.
that was great. Yeah.
What's the next steps between Innovation Center and Wallace Selma? How can we help you to help your communities?
Well, the great thing about it, and I think the starting point is really where you guys are now. Putting the programs out there and making them available for the students. Because, a lot of times when you think about building a class, when the average person drives by a community college, you can post information on a data board that says open enrollment, free scholarships. But for some individuals, that's kind of intimidating. Free scholarships. And, they just automatically assume I'm not going to qualify for that. And so when you have the other entity, when they go down to the career centers to try to get state funding, of course, there's some guidelines in place that they have to meet and so forth. And so when they have those opportunities to go down, they're interested in something, but because they're making too much money per week or they're over a certain age limit and so forth, whatever it might be, if they get denied, then, that's another barrier. But with Skills for Success, we say yes to anybody that's got the aptitude and most importantly, the desire to be a part of the training. So once we put it out there, if they're ready, we offer it. And in most cases, no charge to the students. So that takes away anything regarding financial burdens, scholarships, and things of that sort. You just have a program and you need to show up. Yeah,
you literally click a link and you're in.
That's right.
I mean, it is just that simple.
Yeah, but to further answer your question, to what the support that you guys can provide for the college. So we got the grassroots, because it seems like with all of the stuff that I've seen on the website, some of the things that we're utilizing now, like I mentioned, the fiber ops, community health worker, great starting point. But what I like to see also, maybe sometime going into the future, is us for the team to really build upon those programs that are currently already in place. Like I noticed the water certification program out there. I have a lot of companies or municipalities asking for it. But the issue that I normally run into is that it's a one-off. If you have a small community that's got 10 employees, one person wants a certification, I can't run a whole class for one person. I have to bring about 5 or 6 municipalities together to offer that training. But through Skills for Success, when you put programs like that out there and say, we have this available, the curriculum is there. The only thing I have to do is identify a centralized location, and I can bring all those entities together and say, now you can get the training.
You know, and to your point, we even talked about in a different set of circumstances on a different podcast about partnerships between colleges. And so, you know, we may enter into a phase where kind of like with water operator, you know, different grades and that kind of thing. And maybe in those smaller communities, there aren't vast numbers, but it's hugely impactful because it affects all of us in the community. We all want clean water and wastewater and that kind of thing. That we may be looking at a certain set of scenarios with other courses too, where it's like, hey, sister college, let's go in together. I got 5 people, you got 5 people. Let's put this on together. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. But that happened on another podcast. We were talking about how somebody didn't have a truck and this college has a truck. And, well, hey, you can borrow my truck. You can borrow this.
Shared resources.
Yeah. So we're seeing this like collaborative approach. Do you feel like that's a potential? Is that something that we do enough of? Or I don't know. I came from a college, you know, I know everybody's so busy that it's hard to, you know, work on things on the day-to-day, much less, you know, how to collaborate on things. But do you see that as a potential or something y'all already doing, or I don't know?
Yeah. So absolutely. You know, with the way that the community colleges spread amongst the state, you know, everybody knows the line in the sand, per se.
Yeah.
Where your territory ends and where it starts and so forth. We've done some collaborations with Trentham State because they're pretty much almost in our backyard. So things that we can support at Wallace Selma, we've reached out to them for a joint partnership to say, hey, how can you guys help us out? So I think with the colleges that are in close proximity, there is some relationship. We try to exercise that practice whenever we have opportunities. But, well, with the Innovation Center, I think you guys are really, you know, a great way to bridge that gap because you're working with all of the community colleges. And if you go to a coastal college or a Shelton and they have a need for maybe a truck, and it's hypothetically, a truck or a piece of equipment or whatever to support the training, then you guys are a good bridge to that gap to say, hey, I think Wallace Selma may be able to help you out. Let's have that conversation where we can partner together and see how we can make this work. Because at the end of the day, we all have the same goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
We just serve in different territories, but we all have the same issue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it is, you know, we all know that, I mean, my property line at my house runs from here to here and there to here, and I get it. But, you know, occasionally, like if, you know, next door neighbor didn't cut that, you know, strip of grass, we'll cut that strip of grass. That's no big deal. Yeah, it's the same, I think, kind of ebb and flow kind of thing. We are all part of the same system, providing the same service to the people of Alabama, you know. So ultimately, while there are lines of, you know, service, I guess, it only makes sense to kind of partner up and support each other because everybody wins at that point, and especially that community and those students.
Yeah. And you know, and I'll tell you from my experience, even with some colleges in our close to our service areas, like Shelton here, for example, there's been opportunities where Shelton may have offered the same program that we're running at Wallace. And so I think the average community doesn't get it because they don't see the lines in the sand. Yeah. So they're thinking in terms of, if I live 15 miles from Shelton, why do I have to take the class from Wallace? But respectfully, because we work well with other colleges, you know, if I've reached out to one of my resources to, you know, ask about the training and so forth, or if there's a student that I can't help because of that invisible line, then, you know, respectfully, you know, I reach out and say, hey, this guy wants to go through this certain type of training. Can you guys offer that? And I mean, vice versa. And they've done the same thing with me. So there's a line of respect. But, you know, whenever there's opportunities for us to, you know, really help each other, you know, just make it a better experience for the student.
Right.
That's always the goal, and we've tried to do that.
Help those individual students all the time.
Yeah.
So speaking of high schools, let's talk about high schools a little more, because with the 8-county reach, I think you serve a lot of school systems within that area.
We do.
With Skills for Success being an approved CRI now, how are you all looking to strategize to make sure that you're able to serve those needs with so many different school systems and needs? Because we all know it's based on, their career and technical education opportunities that they've allowed through their programs. How do we help align that with your 8-county school systems? You have a big reach out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the past, I know I used the example of driving an ice cream truck. I was an ice cream truck driver, but I'm starting. So I'm starting.
I see a commercial for Wallace Selma in the future with Rob Lee in his ice cream shop. Oh my gosh, I can see it so clearly. And I would buy an ice cream cone for Rob Lee's ice cream truck. I would.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Pointy hat with the ball at the top.
Oh, I love it.
No, before. So with the dynamics now and with that is a large outreach.
Yeah.
And so moving from the ice cream truck of actually driving to those communities looking for opportunities and trying to offer opportunities, because through Skills for Success, a lot of this stuff has, really taken off. And we have the high school leaders and administrators asking for it.
Yeah.
No is not a response. So we've had to do something. So what we've started doing in the high school sector, and I think we actually have 2 classes that we're starting in Marengo County within the upcoming weeks for food and beverage and another heavy equipment class.
That's awesome.
We've worked with the administrators to really bring them on board, saying, hey, we know we can't be everywhere at once, but would you be interested in teaching a course like this if you have the credentials? And so, a lot of them said, yeah, absolutely. When can I do it? Well, what does the schedule look like? So, once we work out those details, we've started contracting out a lot of that work to individuals within those communities.
That's great.
To, really help out with the training. So that the only thing we simply need to do is make sure that the supplies out there,
right,
set up a shift account, send it out there, make sure they have everything they need prior to, and then they're ready to go. Now, one thing that we do require is that any instructor that goes through a program, we like for you to sit through a lab so you have an understanding of the cadence, what the expectations are, and, really have an idea of how to frame your lab as you run it individually. But instead of driving an ice cream truck, I'm setting up ice cream stands.
Absolutely.
In all of the communities now. So.
But I'm going to go one step further and say, of all those ice cream trucks that you have the same menu at every place. So you have standardized this new ice cream truck across all these things, which in essence is what these courses do. That's right. Is it looks the same way at Wallace Selma as it does in Gadsden, or as it does in Mobile, or as it does over in Opelika. Like it's the same lab, it's the same course, and it's this standardization statewide, so that employers, as they continue to hire Skills for Success completers, students, college completers, that it's a trustworthy kind of thing, because they know, hey, they didn't learn it one way over here and a different way over there, so your ice cream truck has standardized across the state.
That's absolutely correct.
Might have to use that one again, Rob. I like this ice cream truck philosophy.
Yeah, no doubt.
I see a commercial coming.
Absolutely. Or at least a social media post.
Yeah. That's
Rob Lee's ice cream truck of workforce. Something like that. That may be the title. Who knows?
I approve that message.
You're going to move from the BK, have it your way, to the ice cream.
Yes.
One
absolutely.
scoop, 2 scoop, 3 scoop, stack of those credentials.
Ooh, that's good too. That's really good. Yeah, you can choose your flavor, any flavor.
Yeah.
Love it.
But and I tell you, the good thing about it, even with the ice cream stands now, of course, that's power in numbers.
Yeah.
And so with all of the things that we've been doing through Skills for Success, we had a lot of visibility. I normally send out a newsletter quarterly through the college to kind of highlight, some things that we're doing, so the rest of the campus and folks in the community, they can see, exactly what we have going on at the college.
Yeah.
Because, the thing about it, we're so busy doing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can be doing so much that it appears that you're not doing anything. But we do a lot, and we're covering a lot of territory. So with that, go into the numbers, because we've been able to produce so many individuals coming out of those certification programs. Our administrators and leaders are starting to see a need to expand our resources in different counties. And so we get into a space now where we're scrubbing that out, seeing what it looks like logistically on paper.
Right.
And, hopefully in the near future, we'll have some resources managing those sectors designated to certain counties to kind of help manage that process.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
So.
Love it. What other opportunities are over in West Alabama that y'all are kind of partnering with?
Wow. So I know last year we did EMT. There's a lot of medical facilities that, we've reached out to. We've done some training with that. Like I mentioned, we are in the healthcare sector. We've rolled out several PCT trainings, patient care tech. We did a surgical tech training last year. We did a community health lab. And I have to check, but I know we're getting ready to do another community health worker lab again.
Good.
I want to say this Saturday. And I think we have a pretty nice size class size. And I think this might be a lot of the students that weren't able to attend the first lab,
Right.
but finished the online portion, but they really want to get that credential.
Yeah.
So community health work is going to be big. We work with some facilities in the area to look at CNA training. So, it's been huge. It seems like a lot of our programs kind of run in pockets. You find yourself in the healthcare space for a few months, and then all of a sudden you're back at heavy equipment full-fledged, and one outweighs the other, but it balances out at the end.
Yeah.
But how neat is it to have that flexible model, that learning model of, okay, they finished their online, they just need to do the lab, and hey, we're going to offer it here again really soon. It's not like they're having to wait, longer time frames to get in and get those completions done and get those skills and get them into the workplace. So it's really neat to see, even though we're all human, right? Like sometimes we can't complete things that we start on as a task, but those individuals saw the importance of that training and really have said, okay, wait, now I'm ready. What a great testament to the model that's been created through Skills for Success to have that flexibility.
Yeah, and I tell you, my wheels are always spinning, thinking about ideas and, how we can do things better. And so, when you start talking about, the trainings that's out there, you start talking about funding that's out there, you start talking about industry needs. I think that's somewhere where you can meet in the middle, make all of it work in harmony. But one thing that I thought about through Skills for Success and a direction, I think you may have asked this question earlier, but a direction that I would like to take. One of the biggest challenges right now, when we talk with a lot of industries in our area, is employee retention, keeping employees, because of course you have a lot of individuals retiring out.
Sure.
And there's a need to train up a new skilled workforce. One of the things that they always talk about when I attend the conferences for AOA, which Alabama Office of Apprenticeship, is using the apprenticeship opportunity as a tool for retention, because it shows a two-sided investment, and an investment of the student to learn the skill, look at a career path, stay within the corporation, and hopefully
Retain them long term. Yeah.
Retain them long term. And then, of course, on the employer side, investing in an employee through an apprenticeship opportunity to show that, hey, we like your skill sets and we want to help you get wherever you want to get and so forth. So I've always liked that idea. But circling back to Skills for Success, one thing that I would love to see is that if we have those students who really take an interest and gravitate to the trainings that we're offering and so forth, use those guys as a recruitment pool for apprenticeship opportunities. Like when the companies come out, they have an opportunity to see their skill sets, see them demonstrating that they can actually master those skills, and say, hey, I got a few apprenticeship slots open with our company.
To pair the two together.
To pair the two together. Yeah. Let one feed into the other. So, that's another direction I like to see as well.
One footprint we haven't even talked about is y'all's passion and ability, and you're doing it to serve veterans in West Alabama.
Yeah.
I don't know how we left that out, but can you speak a little bit to that about how serving veterans over in that part of the state is just a hallmark of what Wallace Selma is all about and what y'all are doing?
Yeah. So, of course, with the programs, that's one of those special populations that we support as well. And so we understand that, veterans that are retiring out, some might be disabled and so forth, there's still a need to work. Life doesn't stop just because, things happen after retirement or your injuries or whatever the case may be. So that's a population that, we really have to be cognizant of and, really support in any way we can. The programs itself, they're pretty straightforward. I think what we probably need to do going forward is look at some initiatives to really target that sector, because we don't have anything advertised per se and say, hey, this is a veterans program. Mm-hmm. But, we have an opportunity to meet with those individuals, and we know the perks that they're entitled to under certain programs that we offer. Then, that's a great opportunity to benefit them and, serve the purpose of, what we're there for.
Absolutely.
But,
absolutely.
Yeah, but that's something that we need to target more. But, just like with any other program that we run at the college, we don't discriminate against any population.
Oh, sure.
And veterans is definitely one of those ones that we value.
That's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, Rob, we're running out of time. We've enjoyed our conversation with you today, but what's one last thought you want to share with the audience before we wrap up?
Sure. So one thing that I would say is to any individual that's looking for a career, that's looking for training, that's looking to upskill, whatever the case may be, don't put limits on yourself. Yeah, Wallace Community College Selma, and just like our other community college partners, we're a resource for the community. So, just like anything else, the first step is taking that step. Yeah. And if you call, we will definitely answer.
Love it.
Yeah.
What a great parting word. Rob Lee, thank you so much for coming today and making the trip over. And to all of our Innovation Unplugged listeners, we are appreciative of you, and we are thankful that you have tuned in for another session, another episode. So be sure and like, subscribe, and follow on all podcast platforms. Thanks so much. Thank you, Rob Lee.
Thank you.
You.